upcoming programs at the Family Life Center, and we'll have some open line, and Radio Cayman will be bringing you the proceedings in Parliament around 2 o'clock. Talk Today, next, right here on Radio Cayman. Stay with me. Welcome to Talk Today, everyone. I'm Charles Glidden. Thank you for joining in. Well, we got a little relief from all the heat out there today, thanks to some cloudy skies. In our first segment this afternoon, we're going to get the lowdown on upcoming events at the Family Resource Center. They're having some parenting and family programs at the center. And joining me now are Charmaine Miller. She's the clinical supervisor at the Family Resource Center. And also Tamia McLean. She's an intern at the Family Resource Center. She's actually a full-time student also at the University of British Columbia studying psychology. Ladies, good afternoon. Welcome to the studio.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us.
I know sometimes when I hear the Family Resource Center, and maybe this goes for a lot of people, you think of some event happening, like you have a great hall.
Right. There's a Family Life Center,
okay.
And we are the Family Resource Center. Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you get that confusion sometimes?
Oh, sometimes. Yeah. But we've been able to establish ourselves as an entity for some time now. But initially, when we were first formed back in 2009, there was a lot of confusion between Family Life Center and the Family Resource Center.
Okay. So what's your basic mission?
Absolutely. So just simply put, parenting. Our mandate is to provide parenting intervention services to families of all walks of life here in Cayman. We do that individually or in a group setting, and so we have quite a wide range of programs and services available. They're all free of cost, which is quite unique for us because we fall under the Cayman Islands government, more specifically the Department of Counseling Services.
So you offer a lot of counseling to families and such?
Yeah, great question. Because we sit under one department, I like to explain it as an umbrella. If we think about it, it's one department, Department of Counseling Services, and this department has 3 entities under it. There's the Counseling Center, which offers free individualized therapy, whether it is to individuals or families. Historically, they've been known to offer a lot of substance abuse and addiction counseling sessions, but they've evolved quite a bit, and they're servicing quite a wide range of of clients in our community outside of just substance abuse and addiction. So there's that entity. Then there is the Family Resource Center, who focuses solely on parenting. And then we have our other sister agency, which is Caribbean Haven Residential Center, and that is a rehab center in Breakers, actually. Those, all three of us are one. We fall under one department. And if you enter, whether you're entering for substance abuse and addiction counseling through CHRC or just individual therapy, if at any point you want to access parenting services, it could be done through either entity. So that's the beauty of having all of us together.
So sometimes clients end up using...
We share.
Well,
yeah, we absolutely share clients. And currently we're actually in town. We're located at Adonis House, which was the old Applebee building. And we're on the ground floor. The Family Resource Center is on the ground floor, and on the second floor is a counseling center. So again, another opportunity for clients to see a parenting practitioner and maybe book an appointment with a therapist.
So you have some programs.
Yes,
just
sir.
looking at some of the titles here, they look like some good stuff there.
Yes.
So beginning in August?
Yes. So we have cohorts or quarters where we're delivering programs and services. Obviously, throughout the year, we focus on parenting, especially individually. We recognize that every family has unique needs, right? What I find an issue in my household potentially may not be in others, and vice versa. And so we always do individualized parenting services, but we also run groups throughout the year and have quite a range of parenting programs, whether it is for families that are divorced, recently divorced or separated, families that are experiencing a lot of dysfunction at home, through the SNAP program, families that are having a hard time, or parents that are having a hard time managing their anger and frustration towards situations that might be extremely triggering for them. We support in that capacity too. So we have developed, since inception back in 2009, we've continued to develop our programs and services to meet the demands of our community. And that's why, almost on a yearly basis, we're looking at strategically where are the gaps in programming, what are the needs of our families, and how can we meet those needs.
Now, Tamia, you're doing an internship.
She is.
How are you finding this experience?
I really like it. I like how there's so much of a diverse backgrounds with everyone that comes in and also everyone that works there. I think it's really helpful for me to learn that. I also really like that I get to work with sometimes with
Just
kids.
get a little closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry. I like that I also get to work with kids too, because we have a SNAP camp program that's also really fun. I just think it's really helpful, and I really like working there a lot.
So you get credit in the course that you're taking at university for this kind of thing?
So I don't really get credit from it, but I do like doing internships like this because it's just helpful for learning to the degree that I'm doing. So I've done things with the Wellness Center and just overall just different things with the Alex Panton Foundation, just different things with the surrounding mental health. And I think it's just really good that we just spread the awareness about it. And yeah, I also, again, I really like working with the kids, and it's just because they're all so funny. So I had someone that really liked boxes. That was also really cool. It's just again, every kid is different, and I really like that all of them are very honest too. They'll tell you I don't like this, I like this, and I think that's kind of refreshing in a way.
No
All right,
filter.
we have to take a break,
No
but
filter.
we'll continue our conversation when we come back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Talk Today, and we're hearing about upcoming parenting and family programs at the Family Resource Center. So the first on the list is a program starting on the 5th of August called Pathways. What are you going to be doing in Pathways?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually our second cohort of this program. And just simply put again, it's about teaching parents how to regulate their emotions. Like I said earlier, we all have different triggers. We have different levels of tolerance. And unfortunately, sometimes we can get caught up in joining the chaos that exists, whether it is at home or in other areas of your life. And you find yourself losing your cool, sometimes too often. And then after that, regretting some of the words that you use, some of your actions that you made. So this program is a 5-week program. It's short. It's a group program, so generally we allow at least between 10 to 15 participants to join the program. We want it to be an intimate, safe space for individuals to share their experiences, but also to learn skills, right? Ideally, what we want to do as parents, and our philosophy always begins with starting to nurture your relationship with your children. Focus on building that relationship so that when we talk about discipline strategies, those will come next. But first, how can you become more aware of your own adult behavior, your own triggers, the problems that you have with controlling your anger and frustrations before we get into figuring out how do we control our kids and how do we manage some of the discipline challenges that I know a lot of parents face today. So in essence, that's the basis of that program.
It's ironic that parenting is probably one of the biggest jobs we will ever have, but nobody really teaches you how to be a parent, right?
Absolutely. Nobody does. And what we've found since inception is our culture is changing, and it's more accepting towards recognizing that this generation, or maybe even the past 2 generations, they're unique, right? And the challenges that our kids are facing today are different to those that we faced. And so recognizing that there's a little bit of vulnerability there and saying, hey, I need some help. Maybe coming to a program like this, 5 weeks, is helpful for me. I trust the organization. It seems like they're quite confidential. The way in which they run their programs is attractive to me. Why not give it a shot, right? So that takes a certain degree of courage. And we've recognized that families nowadays, in comparison to maybe 10 years ago, are certainly more accepting and wanting. Oftentimes our families are saying, I've tried everything. I raised 2 children. They're 30, and this one is really giving it to me. You know, I don't want to end up in trouble.
What happened?
Like, how do I manage this? And I think parents today have it a lot harder. There's a lot of stressors, not only financially. I think, we're all experiencing economic stressors, but also what's happening at home. Our kids.
So many influences on children.
Exactly, right? Our kids are prone to these devices now that are being treated as babysitters. And we can't judge that because we recognize that, especially maybe coming from a 2-parent or 1-parent household, you're always working, right? You're always trying to make ends meet. And when you come home is a place to de-stress, decompress. But we have to parent. We have to fight against these devices. I'll tell you something. Over the past year or so, when we were paying attention to trends and building our programming strategically, the number one issue that parents are having are screens, managing our children's screen time, building relationships with our teenagers too. That's a huge issue. Parents are either on opposite sides of the spectrum. It's either, I'm not connected with my child, with my teenager, or we're doing well, we're doing great. But that medium is really something that we're losing. And so a lot of our focus has been definitely the Pathways program and running that and increasing that sense of awareness for parents to build their emotion regulation strategies, but also our teenagers. And we're offering a program for parents that parent teens also.
Who can come to this?
Anyone. And that's the beauty of the work that we do. We cater to families, whether they are high, low, middle class families. Our parenting pool is very diverse. You'll see that in our SNAP program. Miss Tamia is going to be joining us today. All of our programs are in the evening also because we want to recognize that parents have jobs, right?
The pathways is when? Are they all at 5:30?
They're all in the evening. Yeah, every single one of them are generally they begin at 5:30 or 6. So what we tell our parents is pick up your kid and then come to the program. Dinner is provided.
Oh, really?
Yes. And if you have more than one child, we also have child care workers that will take care of the other children. Or sometimes we would also provide intervention for the other kids that are having a difficult time and the reason why you initially came to parenting.
Are these classes or programs limited space?
Generally, we like to say 10 to 15 parents, right? Per program. And we've never maxed out in terms of spacing. I think we're still, obviously knowing that Cayman is a very small community, there's still a little bit of stigma. Even though we've made great strides, there's still a little bit of stigma of being in an open space and talking about your parenting challenges. Like you said, nobody taught us how to be parents, right? And if I come, is there a sense of shame or guilt in saying that I still spanked my kids or, I did this, I'm super embarrassed about it. But we don't run our programs in that way. Everyone has an opportunity to share their experiences, but it is very skill driven. So we are introducing new parenting strategies almost on a weekly basis. Try it out, come back. How did it work? If it didn't, let's talk about that more.
So that's Pathways.
Yes.
And the deadline for registration, I see on the flyer here, is August 1st.
Yes. So a long way to go.
Program.
Yes, 5-week program. A great way of getting in touch with us. We've just revamped our website. Find us online, frc.gov.ky, and you can register online and we take over in terms of booking an appointment.
Now, what is SNAP all about?
Yeah. So, Tamia, you can join me in this. SNAP stands for Stop Now and Plan. It is a program, a research-based program. We've been running SNAP since 2016. And what it does is it's targeted to kids that oftentimes get in trouble at school or at home. So some of these kids, whether they are boys or girls, ages 6 to 11, they're having a hard time at school. They're emotionally dysregulated. There may be a history of suspensions. They are the rule breakers. They may be extremely impulsive, extremely hyperactive. There may be some diagnosis already, whether it's ADHD, oppositional defiant. What we're seeing now is early diagnosis of depression in children, which is quite interesting to begin working with. But this program is a family, what we call it's a family program. So when we think about change, we need to look at the entire family system, right? As a department, we don't believe in just servicing families in isolation. So it's not a thing where your child needs to come to therapy, let me drop them off at the counseling center and nothing is happening with the parents, right? So it's all about changing the family system and supporting the family system. So through SNAP, the entire family is coming to SNAP. And when I say entire, I mean the grandparent, whoever lives in that household needs to come, right? The grandparents, parents, we've had caregivers because kids are spending so much time with their nannies, for instance. So we've had nannies join us also. And the entire family household comes to SNAP every evening for 13 weeks. Very, very intensive. We're working with these children that, like I said, have been suspended, have had emotional outbursts. When they're younger, we refer to it as temper tantrums. As they get older, 6 to 11, now we're calling it verbal, physical aggression, having a difficult time forming relationships. Sometimes these kiddos are attracted to the negative peers. The kids that are bullying, the kids that are getting in trouble. So these are the kids that are generally labeled as having emotional behavioral challenges, and this program is exactly for them. Minister Michael Miles is the one of the founders of who actually brought SNAP to Cayman when he was still working with the ministry. So it's really great to see that we've been able to sustain this for since 2016, and now we're running a summer camp for these kids because generally these are the kiddos that are having a really tough time at your average camp.
So, Tamia, that's you mentioned SNAP.
Yes. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Tamia?
So it's for 2 weeks. It's from July 8th to the 18th. And basically we'll just do like different fun activities with them and then help them manage their emotions. And I think it's also kind of interesting too, because I feel like with these kids, when you say managing your emotions, I think a lot of people think of like, well, I don't think I manage my emotions. I think how I react is perfectly fine, you know? Or it's like, well, I'm hurt by this person, so that's why I did this, you know? It's kind of like them, like, deflecting on it. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like, well, this is, like, how I feel, you know? But it's not about that. It's more about for them, you know? Like, well, I understand you may feel this way, but how would you feel if someone did this to you? It's about, like, teaching empathy towards them, you know? And again, like, we'll do like fun little activities with them. So it's like we have like hard thoughts of like, oh, well, this, and then there's like cool thoughts like, oh, well, if I do this, you know, it's just like a river kind of. So again, like, it's just more of like helping these kids, because I think kids should not be labeled as one thing. Yeah. You know, they're like our future. You know, mm-hmm. There's like so many things that they can be. And even when I was a kid, I think I was completely different to how I am now. It's just like they're this changing thing, and you know, I think we should support them and stuff.
Yeah,
she's gonna be good when she comes to school.
She's psychologist in training. Good job, Tamia.
Thank you.
So SNAP is this what you have different classes throughout the year? So this one is in September?
This was in September. We are still wrapping up. We're at like week 10 of 13. It happens every Thursday, and in September we're running 2 cohorts. So generally what will happen is the kids that are in camp will transition into the family program, and so we continue to build that relationship.
So again, any parents that feel that their family can benefit from this can join into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We go through a screening process, and if we recognize that this may not be it for you, there's always a lot of other programs and services available.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Great.
Welcome back to Talk Today, and we're hearing about programs at the Family Resource Center. And just to finish off the SNAP one, I see there's actually two sessions, or what do you call them? Not
two
sessions. Two groups in September, right?
Right. One on Monday and one on Thursday. And that is, again, to meet the demand because this program does feed off of the SNAP camp that we run. 2-week intensive program that Tamia spoke about. What will happen is that it's like a filter. It goes straight into, out of the 35 kids that attend and 35 families, they generally want to continue the intervention. So that's why we increase our offerings, and we do 2 of those for 13 weeks.
And you have another one that's starting in September also, September 2nd. Parenting teens and APF teen talk. Now, teens can be the toughest time for parents.
They are. I have a 14-year-old, but it's okay. We go through our trials and tribulations, but definitely feel like we're winning. It is hard. It's certainly hard. And strategically, that's been an area that we recognize we want to enhance our programs. We've partnered with APF, the Alex Panton Foundation, because that's their mission, right? Empowering youth. So what we're doing in September, which we've wrapped up recently, is supporting parents by equipping them with parenting skills to manage their teenagers. How? Through education, talking about things that are normal, behaviors that are normal, or how can we increase our communication with our kids? How can we improve our relationship with our teenagers so that you are, if not the first one they go to when they're having tough times, you are within that support system for them. Just yesterday, I spoke to my son because I came across an article, and I said, Mace, I asked him, do you feel comfortable talking to mom, when you're having a tough time? And he goes, what certain things, right? And I'm like, okay, that's fair. When I think back on my teenagehood, there wasn't everything that I wanted to speak to my mom about, but there's some areas that I certainly wanted to hear her guidance on, and maybe I would put on a scenario, Mom, what would you do if, right?
Just asking for a friend.
Yeah, just asking for a friend, but it was really for me. But creating moments of connection and opportunities that you can intentionally build your relationship with your teenager is probably the number one parenting tip, and being consistent with that. And intentionality matters. Don't let the device, or don't have them secluded in their rooms and just completely isolated because those are teenagers, and that's how they are. No, that's not how it needs to be. As human beings, we all need connection, right? And even though initially it may feel like you're forcing them to do something, forcing them to go out with you fishing, forcing them to go out dinner, or whatever the case may be, initially it feels that way. But the more you create those moments of connection, the more they're going to want to do it, and they become really fond memories for them. So that's super important for us, building that relationship and partnering with the Alex Panton Foundation. What they would do is, the vision is that I come with my 14-year-old teenage son, and I go into one parenting room to get parenting guidance and strategies with other parents. It could be a room of maybe 10 parents, and my teenager will go off with Alex Panton in that same building in a separate room to build their own skills, whether it is resilience skills, whether it is managing bullying, all the precipitating factors that sometimes lead to challenges for them, right? And they have a really hard time managing. So that's what that partnership is about. And we've been pleased with the outcome so far, and just want to continue to partner. We're very big on that.
Parents and the teenagers come together there at any point?
No, they don't. But what we do, we almost serve as a buffer. So after week 5, we do phone check-ins with our clients, and there's a parenting assessment that's done. The teenagers do an assessment too to evaluate their relationship, and what we'll do is analyze what the parent said and what the child said and say, hey, this is what we've found so far that's going on. Your child feels like you work too much and you're not spending enough time. Is there an opportunity for us to talk about that together? Do you feel like your teenagers feel safe to do that? And if not, here's this information. This is what you can do with it. Right?
So when a parent comes to you again, you talk to them and see if this is the program for them?
Oh, absolutely. We'll always look at suitability for things. Interest is a great question, because sometimes parents come in wanting SNAP, for instance, And then the more they talk to you, you're kind of like realizing that, hey, the problem here is not so much your child that's 6, it's your teenager. You've talked a lot about the issues that you're having with your teenager. This program is about to start. I think it'd be a great fit for you. Right? So there's so much fluidity. Also, you have families that go from one to the next, depending on how it maps out, because they really enjoy it. Yeah.
And then you have family transitions.
Yes. So that is our co-parenting program, which is for parents who are divorced or separated. That was probably one of the first parenting programs that we ran within our organization. And that really came from, not sure if you're aware, but there's a really high divorce rate in Cayman. 50% of families end in divorce, right? Very high.
How does that rate compare to other places?
For this jurisdiction, it's extremely high, right? And there are multiple reasons for that. I think that it has a lot to do with, I don't want to say necessarily immigration, but whether it is an immigration issue or not, but I think it has a lot to do with families coming together with different values, different belief systems even, and that can sometimes manifest itself later down when you talk about parenting and the different philosophies that you have. Multiple pressures, I think, that we have here on island. It makes it hard for some relationships to go a long way, unfortunately. And so what we found through that program is parents will either come in really angry because they've just, gone through divorce. And then parents that have maybe been separated for a couple months already, and they recognize, hey, that was the best thing that we could do for the sake of our children, right? So a lot of the program focuses on being child-centered and recognizing how our behaviors as partners or divorced parents impacts the development of that child. Yeah.
We do have a caller.
Yeah, sure.
So if you put on your headphones there, we'll...
I don't know if it works, though.
There you go. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. You have a quick question?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Glidden. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine. You have a quick question because we're close to going to the news. So.
Yes, I was listening to the lady intensively, and I was wondering, with the kids, do the bus that transport the kids, do they have seatbelts in them? And I'm hearing that some of the buses don't have air condition either for the young children. But I was listening to a lady a few days ago on one of the talk shows that there was a minor emergency stop where a bus driver had to stop from hitting someone on a bike or something.
Hold on a second. We're having a little trouble with our earphones, but do you all have anything to do with buses?
No.
No, you have the wrong people. Sir, they don't transport anyone with buses. Okay? All right? Okay. Have a good afternoon. So we're getting close to the top of the hour here, and just give it what happens in the family transition. What do you try to do?
So what we focus on is teaching parents skills to manage that transition from being a family to now being like co-parents. Right? The reality is that now you're going to have one child that's going from one home to the next. And so how do we manage that transition so that it's easier for that child, so that that child's memory as a 20-year-old is a positive one, for instance, that child's behaviors are not impacted in a negative way, their grades are not impacted in a negative way, the relationship with you as a parent is not impacted in a negative way. So we focus a lot on teaching the parents how to control the anger that they originally came in with so that they can be more child-centered and they can always look out for the best interest of their children who are now living in two different homes.
All right. Once again, just tell us how people can
Yeah.
contact you and get into these courses.
Absolutely. So, parents, if you're listening, you can certainly reach out to us by emailing us at frc@gov.ky. You can also visit our website, www.frc@gov.ky. Give us a call at 949-0006. And if all else fails, reach out to us on our social media. We are on Instagram, FRC Cayman, or also on Facebook at Family Resource Center.
Family Resource Center,
And
doing
thank you,
some
Tamia.
very good work. I've been
you so
talking to
much.
Charmaine Miller and Tamia McLean. Ladies, thank you for coming in. Looks you're doing some great work there.
Thank you so much. And
you.
thank you for interviewing us today.
All right.
Really appreciate it.
So we still have some more talk today coming up. Right now, though, we have to break away to do the news. And remember, we will be bringing you coverage of the parliamentary procedures going on down at the House of Parliament. It's news time. Welcome back to Talk Today. I want to remind you that Radio Cayman will be bringing you live coverage of Parliament this afternoon around about 2 o'clock. That's when they're scheduled to start, and we'll be cutting away to go live at Parliament House. I think we have a caller on the line. Good afternoon.
Welcome back to Talk Today.
You need to turn your radio down there. Hello? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Glidden, it's me again.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering if you could give me any information on what is happening with the phone lines. Radio Cayman 7799 hasn't been working for a while. I don't know. I understand that some local calls are not going through.
7799?
And pardon?
7799, you said, the phone number?
Yes, sir. You don't
No,
have
that's not even
Cayman,
on my list.
The main line for Radio Cayman.
There's
949 7799, not one of Radio Cayman's numbers.
well, I don't know if it's a switchboard, but
Yes, sir. Well, that been out for a couple of days, it seemed like, in certain areas, because I understand again that its flow has a problem. I don't know if it is certain, because nobody is coming on the air explaining anything. In different areas, the WhatsApp is working, but not the local line. And it's only in certain areas.
If that's a switchboard line, that would be a landline. So I mean,
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about, sir. That's what I'm talking about. That's not working. I've been trying to call it for days, and it's not working. It says that
okay, I just got an update. Breaking news. Flo is here in the house. They're working on the line. 7799. That's the switchboard, and they are working on the line. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anything? Could you find out from them, sir, if they have an issue with other parts of the landlines? Because plenty of people in the Bordentown area can't get through to no local to the local line. So I, for one, would appreciate it, because I've been calling for days, and it's a bit of inconvenience.
Well, you've been calling Radio Cayman, calling
hospital and stuff like that.
Oh, other places you can't get through also.
Yes, sir. So if you could like to ask them that, if it is.
That's kind of hard for me to do, because I've been here on the air, and they're out there. So kind of hard for me to talk to the technicians right now.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I mean, you can. I don't know, some representative from Flo, because it's been like that from yesterday. The landlines.
I see. Offrig has spoke out again about Flo's service, especially with the TV. I know they've made some announcements that the Offrig office is not pleased with what has been going on. So they're on the radar. They're on the Offrig radar.
Yes, and another thing, I understand that some of the school buses don't have air condition for the some of the children in the primary school in Bordentown. I don't know if they have them sorted, but I guess it's around the corner for holiday time, so I guess they might do it while their school is out, on vacation. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks for the call. You take care. Yes. AC on school buses. Really don't know about that. I know he'd asked about seat belts also when he had called before. That's an important thing to have. Do you have any pet peeves? you know, things that annoy you to no end and you just have to complain about? You just can't resist voicing your complaint, even if there's no one there to hear you. It's just a general declaration to the world that this thing is annoying you. Let's hear your pet peeves. 1-800-534-8255 or 949-6990. WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, I have a few. I have a few pet peeves. I think the older you get, the more pet peeves you have. You know, most of mine are centered around vehicles and driving, bad driving, stupid modifications on cars, loud cars. One of my pet peeves is when guys modify their brake lights so that when they brake, the brake lights act like strobes, you know, flashing. Why? Why do you want to do that? And if I'm behind one of these guys and I see the brake lights flashing, I'll say, "You're gonna give somebody an epileptic seizure." Those strobing brake lights. If my wife is with me, she'll say, "Do you realize you say that every time you see one of those things?" So now if she's with me, I make a point of saying it just to annoy her. Right? Just for the heck of it. Yes. Yes, no, she has a pet peeve, right? But really, you know, seriously, why turn your brake light into a strobe? I mean, why do you want to do that? What's the purpose? Do you think that that's going to stop someone from, you know, rear-ending you because you have flashing brake lights? I don't get it. And yes, you can cause someone to have an epileptic seizure with strobe lights. Stop it. And now, not only are young dudes putting those strobes on their brake lights, now I see truckers. They think they need strobes on their trucks too. But they just don't put the strobes on the brake lights. They put strobes in all kinds of locations. They have them up front into the grill. They have them in the rear. They have them on the sides. Hey, truckers, you don't need strobes. You're driving a humongous truck. We see you. We can hear you. We know you're there. Stop with the strobe lights already. You're going to give someone an epileptic seizure. Another pet peeve of mine is drivers who have no idea what that stick on the side of the steering column is for. You know, it's there. It turns on the headlights, but, you know, and I'm not talking about the stick now with the windshield wipers. You know, it's the other one. They turn on the headlights, and that's all they ever use it for. It's also an indicator. Tell people where you're going. About 75% of the drivers in Cayman have no idea how to signal. They have no idea to tell people that they're going to be turning or they're going to be changing lanes. I even saw a cop on Linford Pearson the other day. Going along, traffic, gives no signal, changes lane. Yep. We need you to tell us what you're going to do. I mean, you know, come on, man. It's not just a courtesy to indicate your intention to turn or change lane. It's a safety requirement. You're supposed to let other drivers know you're going to be turning or you're going to be changing lanes. It makes things go a lot smoother. And then there's the mufflers that don't muffle. Instead of muffling noise, they amplify engine noise. And I guess that's so guys can fantasize that they're driving in a Daytona 500 when they're on the Linford Pearson Highway or something. And then there's the super loud sound systems. Those that they turn a car into one huge subwoofer. All that annoys me to no end. Now, if they were playing some good music, like Bob Marley or Jimmy Cliff, it wouldn't be bad. I could probably deal with that. But all I hear is bass. Boom, 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 boom. There's no progression of notes. There's no bass line. Just thumping bass. Boom, 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 boom. Very annoying. The dishes in my house, they rattle when that car goes by. That subwoofer on 4 wheels. But my number one pet peeve is the Jake brakes. You might not know what a Jake brake is, but you've heard it. You've heard it on those huge trucks, You can't miss them. When you hear these things, they're terrible. They're like a jackhammer or a machine gun. You can hear them a quarter of a mile away. I'm sitting in my house in Prospect Park, peacefully having a cup of coffee. Must I really be subjected to the annoying sound of a truck using Jake brakes to slow down when they're approaching the Tomlinson roundabout? Those Jake brakes are noise pollution. They disturb the peace. And not only are they annoying noise pollution, but that super loud noise, what is it doing to the hearing of the truck driver? After several years of driving a truck with Jake brakes, they must be almost deaf, unless they're having ear protection. They're used to control heavy loads, a truck with heavy loads when they're coming down a mountain. And it's engine braking is what it is. So you coming down a mountain and you got a heavy load, you can use those to help you slow the truck down. But in a lot of places in the States, they can't be used near residential areas because of the noise. And since we have no mountains and every place is almost a residential area or close to a residential area, why do we allow them? I think we should start a people's referendum. Ban Jake brakes. What are your peeves? What are your pet peeves? 1-800-534-8255 or 949-6990 or WhatsApp 925-3261. We have a caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello? Hello, are you there? I guess not. We lost that one. Okay. But, Cayman has a reputation, for bad driving. And I think we do have more than our fair share of bad drivers. If you drive about the place a lot, you spot bad driving every day. Oh, they came back. Well, hello. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Glidden. You don't want to talk to me today or what?
Oh, I was just trying to finish my little bit there.
The things you're talking about, I just got into my car. There's a few things I heard you saying. And, you see how they're on company vehicles, right? And their vehicles are monitored that they can only go so much speed, no more. Mm-hmm. You know that, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know what happened, but lately, for some reason, government tends to be flying in the big truck, in the small truck. Why? I don't know. And then I saw a HSA car on the highway yesterday coming up, and that was having a party on the highway, and I'm like, that's not his car to be driving the way he's driving. And I don't know if when these people are driving these company cars, do they make them be liable for any accident that they may have, or the insurance just picks them up and then increase me and you and many more other people insurance? You know?
I'm sure they're insured, so they got to be insured for the covering the people that's doing the driving.
Yeah, they may be covered, but then again, not for reckless driving. You know, I don't see how they can get off with that for reckless driving when they know they're driving a business vehicle, and doing stupidness out here on the roads when they are ready. You know, and talking about roads, yesterday Minister 4 o'clock on the Crichton Boulevard Highway here in Newland.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. If I didn't have 8 cars cross me flying, say coming when they got up on me, they must have to hit the entrance. They must have just go. And I even had 2 came in my lane. Imagine they was kissing my car side to side to go about their business. They wasn't even in their line. They were going so fast, and I'm like, excuse me. I mean, where you want me to go? I'm in my lane. Why ain't you in your lane? Why are you kissing my car? Why are you hugging my car? You know?
I know there's a lot of speeding along that highway.
And throughout, especially the what they call spots going east. Sunday it was crazy up there in Northside Highway, flying and like I don't know what it really is thinking, and I don't know if someone can go to the bank and get a car for all this $50,000 and all that kind of stuff, and come on and do foolishness. But yet the bank won't give you $50,000 to get someone started in a home. So that
it's always
property.
It's always been like that. It seems.
Yes, it's always been like that, but some of the things need to change because we have a lot of people who want to have a home in the island. And I feel the majority of people who is punishing for a home on this island are big Caymanians and other nationality because if they got it, they're going to survive one with other, with us or without us on this island, regardless of what we may say.
Well, real estate prices are so high right now that I feel sorry for young Caymanians trying to get on that first rung of the ladder to get a home.
I agree with you.
Even a little small starter home costs, arm and a leg.
Yes. And Mr. Glidden, what I can't understand, where we get all of these sales reps for property selling here in the Cayman Islands? We got them here by the millions. If they got 3 Caymanians in that group trying to sell a piece of property here in Cayman, these people are all from all over the world coming here joining the real estate. And BOM is like a church. You can come and say he's a pastor, and they're going to give you a free work permit at immigration. And you can build your house on the church yard with it. Hopefully, majority of the churches have their homes already there for the pastor. So he's home free. He's living off of what he gains from his church on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis. Pays his lights and his water, buys his food, and take care of the church too. But then again, half the time when a church member's in need, you just can't find them when you're ready. But
and you know this from personal experience? I mean, you've seen this happen?
See what happened, that pastors has homes in church yards?
No, and there are parishioners who are in need, but they can't get any help from the church?
I am quite sure, Mr. Glidden. Come on now, be real. I can guarantee you got 300 people come to your church. I can guarantee you, if 50% of them get some handle from the Churches of Miracle, but the church has their handle there every week. I can guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm.
But so a lot of people got pride. They'll come on the road and beg first. They say that, the Lord got provide for them. A lot of people don't want to ask the church for anything. It shouldn't have to ask the church for anything. You know that I have I'm a helper, and I don't tell you what my salary is for the month. I mean, you go to church 4 times a week, 6 times a week, during the week, on the weekends. You have a little gift card there for them, or a little bag of groceries. I know they got pastor right now in Newland, and he got church at the island, and I think there's another one being built. When hurricane come, you don't see that one there up in Newland in his yard. You don't bring the water home with him. But you see, this is what happened to us. We are so narrow-minded that we think that things are not happening in Cayman, but things are happening because then people here is very proud and stuck up. They don't want nobody to know how they're living in the environment, their food, the job that they're doing, not bringing in anything much. They got to work all kind of hours in the daytime, from 5:30 to 6 in the morning till sunset in the evening again. They got to be right back again next morning. You know, Mr. Glidden, you know some of these helpers, you know what they do in some of these homes? They got to walk a dog. Can you imagine? Your helper walking a dog. When your kids come from school, your helper got to help them with the homework. You got to make sure that there's an order for the parents come home, fed.
And then are they even able to help with the homework?
That's a good question. I hope so. I've heard about it. I hope so. I'm quite sure some can. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm quite sure some can.
But I've heard of some things where helpers are, asked to do a lot of things that are out of the ordinary.
Yeah, they got to wash the car. They got to clean the warehouse windows. They walk a dog. They even put them in uniforms now, the helpers, which I think is cool. You know, but like
that can be also another sun up to sundown kind of job too, right?
Exactly. And you were talking about all these cars with all this loud music. I see I was at Foster's the other day by the airport, and this car came through. It was blasting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they don't care where they're blasting. They just puts it up, and I thought there was a fine for loud music on the island, but apparently not.
Well, I think there's something where if you're, disrupting the peace with whatever kind of noise, or even if you want to call it music, that there can be a penalty.
Yeah, and you were talking about the lights. Some people got a reverse light in pink, a pink reverse light. Can you imagine?
Pink
car,
one?
when you put your car in reverse, your lights become pink.
Oh, wow.
Where is the inspection for these vehicles to have all these different colors on them?
Well, you know what? I think they actually go to the trouble of when they're going to have to go for an inspection. They change all of that out. This is the amount of trouble they go to. I mean, you're not going to get a car pass with strobing brake lights. They go to the trouble of changing all of that out, go get it inspected, come back home, and change it back to the strobes.
But then again, we got some garage that is inspecting cars on this island.
You pay them a few bucks?
Give them a few bucks, and they can keep their legs rolling.
Yeah.
Even a tint that is on their car that the license doesn't want to prove. Some of these garages pass them, and they just got to put a couple of bucks in their hand, especially if they're their brother and sister neighboring situation. I don't have to call them nationality, but it's just a lot of being playing on this island here, and a lot of disrespectfulness to who they have come here and find. Like for example, I'm gonna let you go. Like for an example, I was by Foster's airport. I'm in Countryside yesterday, and they had something that I haven't eaten a long time. So I said, let me try it. So when I went to get look at going down here flying. Oh my God, 2 idiots. Anyhow, yes, and I said to the lady, I said, just $4.49, and the food is pretty cold, Oh, this guy, he was standing there getting his food, telling me that I must pick up the food and it'll get hot when you're eating it. Let me tell you something, Mr. Glidden. I went off on him like a firecracker.
What, do you think you are a microwave or something?
He's going to tell me that I shouldn't talk to the lady like that. I didn't disrespect the lady. I thought I talked to her very nice. I would have asked him a few questions.
Oh, that's a genuine complaint. If the food is supposed to be hot, you don't want cold food, right?
And no one was talking to him. He had the business about it, and it was me and the lady talking. She didn't get no offense, so why should he? But you see, it was their nationality. But I'll tell you one thing, I got a forgiveness yesterday after I said what I said to him in Foster's. But anyhow, we got a lot of trying on these roads out here, and your residents, and the stores, the roads, the schools, everywhere the trying thing. And let me tell you something. We talk about mental health. We ain't seen nothing yet. We not seen nothing yet with mental health because there's more to come. More to come. And I ask God to please.
Yeah, well, people facing a lot of challenges these days.
Yes. But anyhow, we just got to keep the faith and believe that God's going to help us.
Keep the faith.
Him. Yeah, trust Him. But anyhow, I'm quite sure someone else want to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Let you go.
Thank you for calling.
I'll keep the rest of OC tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
You have a good afternoon, you hear?
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think it's time for a break, right? We'll be right back.
And the lowest rates for check flights. Book today at CaymanAirways.com. Download our new mobile app. Call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Cayman Airlines. Cybersecure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I had told you before that we would be breaking away to go live down at the House of Parliament for the proceedings down there, but there's been a change of plan. We are now going to bring you Parliament live on Breeze FM, and that's 105.3. So if you want to hear what's going on down at the House of Parliament, you need to tune into Breeze 105.3. That's around 2 o'clock that'll be happening. And we have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon. I didn't quite understand I didn't quite understand your explanation of why 89.9 is going to break away to air Parliament.
Well, they start at 2 o'clock these days. That's the new starting time. In the new standing orders, they hold Parliament from 2 until 8 o'clock at night. So we would have been breaking away to cover that, but we will not be doing that here on Radio Cayman 1. It's going to be carried on Breeze now. That's 105.3.
Right. That's the usual. Okay, now I understand. I wondered why they were going to carry it on 89.9. 105. Yes, and thank you for repeating that. I was trying to get on air while you were saying that, and so that's why I didn't understand. And I went as far today as to encourage my representative in Bodden Town to encourage his constituents through his chat group to listen to the Parliament live or to listen to it on the rebroadcast at night and encourage their children to do so and to tell them that they would have less to worry about on the next election as to who to vote for if they listen to what's going on in the House.
Well, that's a good point.
And plus it would give them information and keep them involved. Why should people just get involved at election time? They should stay involved throughout the year and keep their thumb on the pulse during the year and know what's going on.
I remember years ago, I guess before we had all the cable TV and internet and all of that, when Radio Cayman carried at that time it was the Legislative Assembly, but that was a very popular thing to do, was to listen to the Legislative Assembly.
That's right.
It was almost kind of entertaining.
That's right. Informative, entertaining, but also informative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we need to know. That's why Cayman has lost out on so much of its culture and tradition. It's because people are not involved. They have too many other distractions now, too much other social media, and they're not paying attention, focusing to what's happening on the island, and then when it happens, it's too late because it's already happened.
Yeah, a lot of competing media these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from the phone to the TV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
games.
All of that.
All that. So what I really called in today about was to agree with you on all your pet peeves. I agree on each one. The other pet peeve I was going to mention is these people who have these tenement houses or either turn their family home into a rental property and they're not maintaining their homes as if they belong on this island. They're not painting the homes, they're not keeping the yards just because they have foreign people renting. They're not maintaining the homes. And I think that's a downright disgrace and an embarrassment to me and to the island that I grew up on, that kept our houses painted and our yards cleaned. And as my grandmother would say, not just the inside of the yard, but outside the fence needs to be kept too.
So what are you saying, though? When they rent out the whole house and then they just allow it to run down?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Awful, embarrassing.
So they're not living there. They just rented the whole house out.
Yes, and they've gone and they're living their best life, but they're not trying to maintain the house to make the house look as we would have maintained homes in our days, or if they had been living in the house, not keeping it like it was when they lived in the house as their family home.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows a lot of disrespect to your tenants also, that you're not going to give them a good, a decent place that they're paying you for.
That's right. It's abuse. It's a type of abuse, and it's a type of neglect. Yeah. And that's my pet peeve for today. I have others, but that's my pet peeve for today.
All right. Well,
I really hope that the environment, whichever department that collects the garbage, I brought this up to you before, that they would come on and say when they're going to, give us the results of the garbage collection pilot project.
Oh, where they handed out the garbage cans,
Yes,
the containers.
and that was supposed to be a 6-month pilot project. It's time now to come and say what the results of the pilot project.
Well, that's going on in my neighborhood. It looks like
Yes.
it's, from my perspective, it looks like it's working. And I mean, the containers are really nice. They're secure. They're easy to put out. You know.
But it's time for them to say whether they got enough, if they got positive results, and they're going to continue it throughout the island.
It would be nice.
And
And you could do it like in some other places too, where you have one container that's a special color for recyclable stuff.
yes,
You know.
yes, these things don't take forever to do. Just do it. They've done their 6-month pilot project. Hasn't it been more than 6 months in prospect?
Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely more 6 months.
So it's time to come back on now and say, oh, it's been successful, it has not been successful, and this is what we intend to do. When the director came on, he said that they were going to start fining households for uncovered garbage containers, and that by them being uncovered, it allows the animals to go and pull the garbage out.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, that couldn't be done because the law doesn't allow it. No. This is unacceptable and uncalled for. The law can be changed overnight for who wants it changed. So we don't need to have all this garbage being pulled down by the animals and strewn across the road. That's unacceptable in this island. Very unacceptable.
Yeah, well, it's detrimental to public health too. I mean.
Yeah, and so I intend to send an email to the director, but I know that these people listen to these talk programs, and I hope that something will be done about it before I send my email.
Well, if you have to send your email, let us know what the response is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being there today. Quite a nice treat. Okay, then.
All right. Thank you for calling. Have a great afternoon.
So welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that project in Prospect where the Department of Environmental Health distributed these garbage containers. Quite nice. They're on wheels. They're easy to move around. They have covers. They can hold quite a bit. Certainly working for me. You know, got to remember to put it out. But and from looking around the Prospect area, it seems to be working fine. I would say let's go ahead and do it all over the whole Cayman Islands. I'm sure they have their reasons for not moving ahead with it as we would think they would, but it would be good to get an update. What's the results? It really keeps the place clean with those containers because when you put garbage in it, it is secure. A dog can't come along and just topple those things over like they would just a ordinary garbage can. And we were talking about traffic earlier, and I was saying that we have probably more than our fair share of bad drivers around the place. Sometimes I see an accident or the aftermath of an accident. You see the car there, and you say, well, my goodness, how did they manage to end up like that? What were they doing that the car is facing that direction? Or how did they get the car in there? Really amazing. And we do have a reputation for bad driving, it seems. I Googled Cayman bad drivers, and now Google search has this thing now, relatively new, where they have what they call an AI overview. And the AI gathers all the information relative to your question and condenses it into a single answer, and then gives you a breakdown. So if you Google Cayman bad drivers, here's what the Google Artificial Intelligence Overview says. Yes, there is a perception and evidence of a problem with dangerous driving in the Cayman Islands. Traffic incidents and road fatalities are on the rise, and the government is considering stricter measures like a demerit system to address the issue. Reports highlight issues like speeding, DUI, inconsiderate and distracted driving as contributing factors to accidents. Evidence of the problem: increased traffic incidents. Traffic offenses reported to the police have increased by 14%. And that was coming from 2023, it says? Yeah. Reaching 10,716 incidents. So it's probably more in 2024. The islands have seen an average of over 10 traffic fatalities per year in the last 5 years. They're quoting the Compass there. And public perception: many locals and visitors alike perceive driving in Cayman as dangerous, citing issues like excessive speeding, failure to signal, and general disregard for traffic laws. So, hey, we got to tighten up on our driving around the island. We have to take a break. Be right back. Welcome back to Talk Today. It's about 9 minutes running up to 2 o'clock. And remember, if you want to hear Radio Cayman's live coverage of Parliament, you need to tune in to Breeze FM. That's 105.3, and you can get our parliamentary coverage there. We've been talking about traffic and bad driving habits and so forth. And just before the break, I was saying we do have a reputation out there. I was looking at on Reddit. On Reddit, there's a, what do they call it again? A subreddit, Cayman Islands. There's a whole thing people talk about the Cayman Islands, and this one. Well, actually, this one is from a year ago. This says, people here are incredibly bad drivers. And this is how a lot of, I guess, expats view things, because from the comments, it looks like a lot of expat comments. It says, I don't mean the tourists. Everyone rags on tourists. But sure, driving on the right accidentally is bad, but not very common. And people hate when they are slow into roundabouts, but they're just being cautious. I'm talking about residents and locals. There are so many aggressive and stupid drivers on the road, it is almost embarrassing to the nice island spirit. You talk to a friendly islander, but once they get into a car, it's like a deaf, blind, and dumb rage monster takes over. Do you not realize that honking at someone obeying traffic laws or speeding past at 80 miles per hour on the shoulder is dangerous? Also, look at your own car. The bashed up hood and doors indicates that you're in fact a bad driver, not the innocent people you road rage. Nothing gives me more satisfaction while driving than seeing a speed trap on the highway. Of course, driving is absolutely terrible. We don't have a real driving test. We don't. I thought that was a pretty tough test. And we accept licenses from countries where you can buy a license for $25. Multiple wrecks every day. A lot of fatalities has numbed the population and normalized the behavior. Cayman has a major population education infrastructure issue. I'm baffled by the amount of people that do not indicate, signal, yes. See, someone else hates that also. Not saying I'm the perfect driver, but the impact of not doing something as simple as signaling where you're going when you're turning or move affects other drivers is absolutely crazy. And so what do you think about driving habits in Cayman? Give me a call, 1-800-534-8255. That's compliments of Flow. And yes, they're in the house working on our lines. You can also call a 949-6990 or a WhatsApp 925-3261. Yes, some more comments here about driving in Cayman. How about the four-way stop sign near the hospital? Absolutely no one knows how to use that properly. It's not a nice gesture to let someone through ahead of you. It's not their right of way. This causes unpredictable behavior and confuses the other already confused drivers at the intersection. They should really convert that over to a mini roundabout. Another roundabout? I kind of like the four-way stop. But roundabouts, a lot of people just don't know how to use a roundabout. Maybe there's not been enough education. I know when the roundabout started, they had a campaign to educate people on how to use a roundabout. But I know it didn't last too long. And you see people that, they go into a roundabout and it's obvious they just don't know how to use it. I mean, one basic rule, as far as I know, is the vehicle on the right has the right of way. And you got to learn how to use the exits, what lane you're supposed to be in. And actually, I remember a few years ago, my grandson had taken some driving lessons. He went to one of these driving schools before he went and took his test, and he was instructing me on the proper use of the exits and what lane you had to go in. One time I put on my indicator to exit, and he says, you really don't have to do it because you're in this lane. Right now, you have to exit. You can't go past this exit if you're in this lane. If you're in the outer lane, you got to take the second one. You got to use the first one or the second one. You don't really need to indicate. So you got to know those rules, and maybe enough emphasis hasn't been placed on teaching people how to use a roundabout. And I don't know if they actually include that in the road test when they go out to. Well, I guess they must, because at least the one up there, the main licensing place, they would have to use a roundabout when they take them out, and to come back to the licensing place, how to use a roundabout. So they must test them on that. They would have to use that. Another comment here on Reddit: driving in any majorly car dependent location, which for some reason Cayman unfortunately is always awful. I live in Houston currently, and it's a nightmare here. Every driver is either a sociopath or God or a buffoon. And it's worse when more drivers, and often worse of them, the worst of them too, are in gigantic pickup trucks. I could talk about the privilege attached with being an expat living in the islands. The fancy car people love to drive on a tiny island nation, and how it lends itself to thoughtlessness and selfish behavior epitomized by being bad drivers. But that's just a personal theory. And someone say, anytime you see a fit, watch out. Someone replied to that, say, or a BMW. Yeah, I know some of the, especially the young guys, they're riding in a BMW, and so it's like, hey, I'm in a BMW. I'm driving the ultimate driving machine. I can do anything. I'm going to take this roundabout doing 90 miles an hour. That's why they're over in the bush. It's 2:00. Let's check in with the newsroom. Welcome back to Talk Today. And if you're looking for our live coverage of Parliament, which I told you we'd be doing right here on Radio Cayman 1, there was a change of plan. The parliamentary coverage is over on Breeze FM 105.3. You can tune in there if you'd like to hear what's going on down at Parliament. Right now, we have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to contribute to your statement about Caymanians being bad drivers. I think it's mainly the residents, the people who are coming into Cayman at this time that are the bad drivers, and then Caymanians are imitating them.
You think they're imitating them?
Yes. One national said to me, he said, in the last 2 weeks he told me this, he said, you see, if we don't rush, I'm from the big cities, if we don't rush, we won't get where we're going. And if we follow the laws, we'll be completely left behind and not get to our destination. So we have to be doing what the others are doing and just overtaking and speeding and driving bad in order to get through the cities. And that's just what's happening here now. Just like Miss Jan said, they're kissing her car. That's what's happening.
Well, those people from the big cities, you know, they got to learn to chill, island style, right?
Well, yes, but we're going to have to get some traffic police out there to enforce that and bring them, rein them in, so they'll realize they're on an island, not in a city. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
We have another caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Glidden. I hope you're well and everyone at Radio Cayman is doing okay.
Same to you. Thanks for
Thank you.
calling.
I'm doing okay. I'm grateful for another day. Drivers on the roads. Mr. Glidden. That's a story for a whole day and a whole night and a whole week show. I'll give you an example of what took place here a couple of days ago with me. I'm out exercising. I'm going towards on Birch Tree Hill Road, going down to Conch Point Road.
Uh-huh.
And I see this little Honda Fit just stop in the middle of the road.
Well, you know what they said on Reddit? When you see a Fit, watch out.
Yeah. I call them Hondas not so fit. That's what I call them. Anyway, the driver just stops in the middle of the road, and he's in front of the guest house down here, that one of the guest houses we have, and he's letting out two of his friends. And there's no indicator. He's just stopped in the middle of the road. There's a van behind and a big old dump truck behind.
Oh, boy.
So the dump truck blew. The other gentleman stayed in behind the car, and the dump truck came around because there weren't any traffic coming. So I came around to the driver's side. At this time, he had threw his hazards on, and the other passenger was getting out to the back. And I went and I said to him, I said, you know, you have to follow road rules in this country. You cannot break rules, throw on hazards, and stop traffic just like that in the middle of the road. I said, we have rules here. You got to abide by them. He starts to holler and scream at me and proceeded to speed down the road and go about his business. You know, if you have drivers doing that, imagine what else takes place. And there's a lot more going on the road, but it all comes down to a police presence on the road. I see where the RCIPS has started this operation called Fly Road.
Yes, they have.
They have finally come into West Bay on Birch Tree Hill Road and coming down Conch Point and Captain Reginald, the three roads that are being speeded on. But they're still not stopping. That's the problem. They're just driving through with their windows down very slow. What they are doing is stopping traffic because the cars coming behind them can't speed no more. But you're still defeating the purpose. You need to, and I keep calling that there needs to be traffic police on the roadways. They need to be stopped, and in order to see what and how drivers are conducted themselves. Because, you know, the amount of people on cell phones going not the speed limit, the amount of people doing anything else, speeding just just racing down the roads and have no regard. You can hear them at night. You can hear them coming all the way down from up from Captain Reginald Drive, and you can hear it because the wind is blowing the correct way, and you hear the cars speeding. But you don't see a police presence. And I keep saying the police have to be more visible in our districts. I know they cannot be everywhere, but they seem to be not doing what is needed to stop what is happening on our roadways, which is speeding. There is a condo complex down here on Conch Point Road, Paradise Point. Every week, there's one or two vehicles parked by their sidewalk, but not in their parking area, because it's 6 condos, and they don't even have enough parking for the 6 condos at 2 cars apiece, okay? So anyone that visits them parks by their sidewalk.
Okay.
And I took a picture of the car because I started taking pictures now and doing videos so that when the police want to see stuff, I'll have the proof. This car is parked up against the sidewalk, but the 2 right wheels are all the way taken up more than quarter of the roadway on the left-hand side of the road.
But the road is not that wide to begin with.
No, and we have 2 lanes here on these roads, and the roads are used by school buses. This time of day soon, school buses will be coming down. And, I wanted to almost go and knock on one of the condos that I saw light in, but I said, no, just take the picture and walk away, because that's going to cause an argument, and then it doesn't get in any way. So I've been taking pictures and videos now so that I have the proof to show when I go back to the police in West Bay. Because drivers have to learn to slow down. Another thing is, years ago we used to license bicycles. We need to get back to doing that. We need to change the laws if the laws are not there for the road laws, whatever. I spoke to 3 foreigners the other day coming home from work at night. I was on the road after 10. And I spoke to them. I said, let me give you a piece of advice here. You are riding 3 to the breadth of the road, the width of the road. I said, you have to learn to abide by road rules and ride one behind the other. Okay? I said, because if you don't, a car is going to come down and knock you down and leave you for dead and not worry about you. So you need to start abiding by the road rules and doing what is right. We have all of these electric bicycles and electric scooters here, Mr. Glidden, and nobody's policing them. They're flying down the road without helmets on. There are some that wear helmets, but they take these bicycles, electric, and these electric scooters, and they just race
the
down
scooters
the road
are the one that
without.
gets me. I mean,
But the electric bicycles, you should see them in West Bay.
But
They
the
just
scooters,
flying like the cars.
the scooters are the people on those. It's as if they think that they have some kind of protection around them, that nothing can happen
Yeah,
to
they
them.
got.
They
They
just
have plenty of protection.
scoot,
Yeah,
they scoot
asphalt.
everywhere,
But
zipping
the
in and out of
electric
traffic.
bicycles are flying. The scooters be flying, and also I see on the roadway down here these young teenagers on these dirt bikes pulling someone behind the dirt bike, flying on a bicycle, going down the road, no helmet. You shouldn't be doing it on the road because it's illegal, but yet they're doing it. And I keep saying, where's the police presence? I have seen 2 police vehicles in the last couple of days since this operation has started, but all they're doing is driving through the district, Mr. Glidden. They're not stopping to monitor traffic at inner intersections, to put a presence on the road, to show drivers that, look, we can't be everywhere, but we're trying. But you've not got any roadblocks down on these roads already yet, so I don't know what's going on, but I keep going back to the point is we don't do nothing until something happens here, and it's a sad way of a mentality.
Yeah, so sometimes it just seems that way.
But we have we have allowed too much to go on in this country, and finally things are starting to slowly trickle down where we see improvement. And it's good to see, but I'll put it back and I'll leave it there. The police must have a presence of traffic officers, they're going to, the Commissioner, Mr. Walton, is going to have to find a way to do it, because these three roads, like I say, Birch Tree Hill, Conch Point Road, and Captain Reginald, they need to be policed. And the traffic cops need to park their vehicle. Just park your vehicle at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock and just do a road block, and you will figure out what's happening on the road, because you'll see the cars speeding, and they'll see you, and they'll see the roadblock, and they'll have to come to a stop. So I will leave it there, but I'm much afraid we're going to lose a lot more lives, on innocent lives, on these roads for the lack of policing, because we hear about the police service don't have this, they don't have that. But you're going to have to make do with what you have so you can get more. But if you know these roads are an issue, then stop.
You concentrate on them.
Stop putting vehicles on the road. I see the RCIPS 2 vehicles, the big old SUV and one other police car, but the windows are down and you're driving slow. But you have to stop the vehicles and stay there for an hour or half an hour. See what's going on the roadways and start ticketing these drivers, because the drivers don't care. I will tell you that. And I tell myself I put my life in danger every day. I go on the road for a walk, but I abide by the road rules. And if I see a vehicle coming too fast, coming towards me, I step off the side of the road.
Of course.
I'm not going to stay there because I don't know what madness you're going to do.
Listen, I have to take a break. Thank you so much for calling. You're always keeping us up on what's happening in your neighborhood. Have a good afternoon. I need to take a break, so I'll be right back. Caller on the line. Stay with me. We'll take you next. Welcome back. We have a caller that's been patiently waiting, so let's go straight to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, go ahead. What's on your mind?
I waited patiently for that caller to finish.
Yes, you did.
No, as you were talking about the four-way junction in Hospital Road,
Uh-huh.
page 37 of the road code explains that all vehicles must come to a complete stop at
Right.
the double white line and allow first come to go first. And if two vehicles arrive at the same time, you allow the one on the right to go first.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not my words. It's page 37 of the road code 2012 regulation says that.
Yeah, that's what they teach you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you for that, coming right straight from the road code there. Yeah, I know. I guess a lot of people don't realize that that's how it goes. If everybody comes at one time, it's the person on the right. And like I was saying, even in a roundabout, I was taught car on the right has the right of way. And speaking of roundabouts, there is actually a video that you can find online, and this had to have been a tourist. Had to have been a car that went around the roundabout up by Hurley's, went around the roundabout the wrong way, and then they were going to exit down Crew Road on the wrong side of the road, and they actually exited and went down Crew Road on the wrong side of the road. Now, how something terrible didn't happen, I don't know. We have a caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air talk today.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Charlo.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Getting your last few minutes. Not bad, you know.
Yeah. You're going to take me down to the end of the line here?
I don't know unless you engage. I just wanted to chime in on my little understanding of the roundabouts, and I think the biggest thing about the roundabouts is the lack of indicators.
Yeah.
Not only, and I have a challenge with the police with that for a number of reasons, but in terms of motor vehicle accidents, and my experience has been that they don't tend to ask if anyone had on an indicator to indicate where they were going, particularly when it's visitors involved. It's almost like it's a default because of visitors involved, rather than finding out if they use indicators. And I say that for a specific reason, having been involved with visitors who were getting rental cars. But I was taught to look at the roundabout as a huge clock.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, and always looking at it as if you're entering at 6 o'clock. So
Right.
6 o'clock is on the bottom.
Right.
12 o'clock is up top. And then the first exit on the left would be like 9 o'clock, and the one on your right would be 3 o'clock. And you determine as you're approaching the roundabout which one of those exits you want to get off. And if you want to get off at 9 o'clock, entering at 6 o'clock, you should go to the far left lane, which is probably why your grandson, I think, told you may not need to use the indicator if you're going on the far left. If you're on the far left lane, entering at 6 o'clock and getting off at 9. However, that lane can also be used to exit at 12 noon.
You can go as far as 12, right?
12 noon, that's right. But why indicators should be important even if you're getting off at 9 o'clock is because it also helps to reduce the amount of people who are waiting and the other ones, and they can't really determine whether you're going to get off at 9 o'clock or not unless you use your indicator. And so a lot of Cayman drivers just zoom, including police, going into the roundabouts and not indicating where they're getting off at. You should, once you're in the roundabout, you should always indicate the place
that's how I look at it too.
Right. And so if you're going to continue past 9 o'clock to exit at 12, you should be having on your right indicator so that the people who are waiting at 9 o'clock to come on knows that you're coming around, and then you exit on the 12 o'clock by indicating that you're getting off, so that the people that are on 12 o'clock trying to get on will also know, I don't have to wait on you because you've indicated to me that you're getting off on this same spot. If you are getting off at 9 o'clock and you're entering at 6, you should be on the inner lane with your indicator all the way around and then indicate as you're going off. But the point is that you should always indicate where you're getting off at. And it's part of the reasons why you have people who getting accidents is because you may have somebody who is on that outer lane who's seeking to go around, and somebody use it. This is why you have accidents. Someone on the inner lane who's trying to get off, and none of them are indicating to tell each other, this is where I'm going, you know? It's you have the right of way on the roundabout, but you have to indicate when you're getting off. It helps the driver next to you to know that.
Yeah, it's like that, one up at Hurley's. If you're coming from town,
yes,
and then someone's coming from, like, say, the South Sound side of the roundabout,
right?
They come around, and at that point, when they enter the round, it's just one lane. So the lane isn't even helping you to know where they're going.
There's two lanes at,
right.
At that one.
But I think at one point when you first enter it over there, there's only a single lane, and then it turns into two. But my point is, they're coming, and you don't know whether they're going to go into the shopping center or they're going to go round the roundabout.
Which is why the people coming out of Georgetown then also end up holding up a long time.
Yeah, because you don't know what this guy's going to do.
They don't know where you're going, and it does slow down traffic. If people indicated where they're going, it helps everyone, because you don't have to wait as long thinking, I don't know where this person is going, so I need to wait until
just be safe.
Yeah, where the car is going. That's if you got a little brain, you're going to wait. You know, because that's the equation that's difficult.
But some people think it is like their idea is, if you're not exiting, that you don't need to indicate. As long as you're going to stay in the roundabout, you don't have to let everybody know, I'm staying in the roundabout.
In that case, you should be on the inner lane because you're going
exactly
all the way around. Yes. So if you think about it again as a clock, you're always entering at 6 o'clock. If you're getting off on the first exit, which would be equivalent on the clock at 9, you should be on the outer lane, and you should indicate that you're getting off. Or if you're going to continue to 12 o'clock, indicate that you're continuing around on the little half moon, and then exit. You should be using your left indicator so that the people that are waiting at 12 to get on knows these people are going where I'm coming from, and I don't have to wait. It's a courtesy thing, man. It's a courtesy system.
But it's safety too. It's not even just simply courtesy. I think it's safety, and it makes the traffic flow better. Everybody knows where everybody's going.
That's right.
That's
how it's supposed to work. That's how I was taught.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Well, thanks for all those roundabout tips. I actually think they need a more intense campaign to educate people about how to do it. Because it just looks like some people, they just aren't sure about how to use a roundabout.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me when we're talking about traffic more than anything else are those who are disrespectful in terms of, and I've shared this before, and wasn't going to raise it now, but it's a culture that's outside of us.
Yeah.
This thing of waiting, they're forcing their way into the lane. Now, there was a Caymanian lady that called not too long ago, and she talked about Caymanians following other drivers. I also see that sneaking into our culture because they see these people that are predominantly Jamaican. I'm just going to be honest. And I say that only because I know a Jamaican friend of mine who told me once why they do it. He said that's normal in Jamaica to force your way out. And if you don't force your way out, you're not getting out. Whereas they don't realize the culture here is to actually stop and give you an opportunity to be able to go. But you shouldn't be forcing your front end and forcing me to stop who has the right of way, because I don't care to get in an accident. I mean, some people may decide I can tear your front end off because you decide to be stupid and pull in front of me.
It's almost like who's willing to take the dare.
Yeah, which is horrible. It's disgusting, really. When you're driving, it's kind of like, wow, you wouldn't even give me the respect to one, that I have the right of way, but I could, stop and give you a right, a pass. But if I don't want to do that, you shouldn't be forcing me to do that because you don't think I want to get in an accident. It's a horrible way to drive. Anyway, thank you, man.
All right, thanks for the call.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are taking on a very aggressive attitude toward driving these days. And like was mentioned, the police are onto a campaign now of cracking down. And, I think it was just late last year, they had some kind of crackdown too. So I don't know if those kind of things help, but I guess they're trying. And I remember there was a guy that worked for me, and he used to drive in a very aggressive manner, and I used to say, looks like he's in a video game. He's driving, he's like playing one of those car driving games. That's, we'd leave work and we'd be going the same direction. I would watch how he handled himself. So I finally asked him, I said, where did you learn to drive? He says, playing video games. And I say, you do realize that in real life, if you crash, there are consequences. You just don't start over again. Well, that's it for me. It is now 2:30. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your afternoon. I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.